live.
Woohoo.
All right, we're finally live. It's just me, Trixie sometimes, and Justin. Come on. That's just gonna hide.
Sometimes.
It's gonna go hide behind the screen. Or maybe not. Anyways, well, here we are. So, how is feeding the bonfire going for you?
I'm uh I've kind of settled back into eating about twice a day, honestly. Not that I've kind of it's not that I've run. Okay, well, two things. One, my work really slowed down, and
Mm-hmm.
so I got out of rhythm. And so um on days that I don't work, I like to be able to cook my eggs and have like a nice breakfast, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I've kind of been doing that since work's been slow. Um, but what I can say is that I'm not like psychologically, it changed my mindset. And what I mean by that is that I'm no longer as obsessive and concerned about fasting. Um, I'm able to settle more into a eat when hungry
Uh huh.
rather than counting hours, like I was before when I was doing more intermittent fasting, you know. And I think that's healthy. Um and so I whether or not I'm doing the true feeding the bonfire, um I'm I'm eating more and I'm eating a little bit more frequently, and psychologically I feel better about having the occasional snack, um, munching on some bacon or some ground beef or something, um, from time to time, and not so focused on just doing 2 meals a day and things like that. And so I'm grateful to the this experiment. I'm not declaring it over necessarily, um, but I, like I said, falling out of the rhythm. I'm still doing the raw eggs pretty much every morning, and on one side of it, kind of running out of food, especially the more kind of snacky food, because palate. I don't know about yours, Tom, but my palate does get a little worn. So like, if I do raw eggs in the morning, then as a snack have some meat, some ground beef, meatballs, or something like that, and then for lunch have more ground beef meatballs. It just it makes it seem less appetizing, you know. And then doing some strip steak or something for dinner. Now, um, I could see myself doing this if I was had the ability and the capacity to have maybe some turkey breasts in the afternoon, and then maybe some fish for dinner, and then having a bit more variety of meats. I feel like it would make this easier. But because of being on a budget and other reasons, having to cook, having to meal prep so much, having stacks of containers, you know, it's it's a bit more work. It's not like just opening cans of tuna or something, which is something I could do, but again, you have the economic impact of that. Chicken wings, I'm really enjoying chicken wings right now, but I could go through, a couple pounds of chicken wings in a day, right? Like that wouldn't be an issue. And so I'm just having these stumbling blocks. I think I also broke my food scale. I tried to clean it with water, and now it's it's no longer working properly. I just put like a little bit of water on it because I'd spilled something on it, and I was like, oh shit, I'll just run it under the sink real quick. And I think it fried the display. So I'm like, shit. So, it's a few of these setbacks. Um, and I think I mean that's why you hire a guy like John Anderson, right, to walk you through the steps and to keep you on it and what it's supposed to look like. I mean, we were kind of doing not an amateur, we took our best shot at it. I don't know where you're at with it, but I would say I'm pretty off plan as far as feeding the bonfire goes, honestly. Um, but I'm taking the lessons with me. I've also completed the 12 weeks of the X3 program. Um, and um, I am noticing some body composition, but more than that is my overall strength. I feel strong. I'm able to pick up groceries and stuff easier. My back feels stronger. My calves are kicking butt right now. My calves look great. Um, my hamstrings look awesome. My glutes look good. You know, the chest is looking really good, a lot more filled out. And my arms definitely are stronger for sure. And so that's really cool too. I'm going to keep doing X3. It's not the end, but it's the end of the beginning program, just so you can get used to doing X3 and learning the ins and outs with it and everything. So I'm going to keep it up. I keep moving forward. But I wouldn't say I'm really feeding the bonfire at this time. Like I said, kind of settled more into 2 meals a day. Today, I just had 2 meals. I had a breakfast and I just got done with a beastie burger for dinner, and that'll probably be it. Um, and that's another thing too is sticking to a meal plan. Uh, it's kind of hard in a way of um, sometimes there is a little extra cheese or a specialty meat that's on sale that you want, and so you may go for that, which may be out of step uh, with the program, or the fat to protein may not be right or something like that. And so just like any program, it's about the follow through and the execution, right?
Yeah, I just want to say hello to Alien Drone Service since Alien Drone Service popped in
He's
and said, "Yo,
ADS. It's ADS.
ADS." All right. Why do we know if it's a he or a she?
I'm just gambling on he,
Okay,
so it's fine.
fair enough. So you sent this picture of the Beast Burger. Do you want to show it?
Yeah, sure. We could show it.
You want me to share it?
Yeah, why not? Exhibit A.
So I mean, this looks like pretty good variety to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a meal. So the reason why it's called a beast burger is I went to a local butcher shop here about a month ago now, honestly, and they had something called beast patties, and it's a mix of like boar, bison, wagyu. I think there's elk in it. It's like 5 or 6 different beasts in it, um, and so that's why it's called a beast burger. And that was a pound right there. And I just had some Applewood smoked bacon and some Applewood smoked cheddar. It was really good. So I wasn't paying attention. I was talking to a friend, and I was trying to try and get here on time as best I could. The middle was more rare than I had intended. It's pretty rare in the middle. Hopefully, I don't catch anything. I don't think so. It's super fresh. It's been just in the freezer. And I think undercooked ground beef isn't as gnarly as undercooked poultry. At least I'm hoping. I am I am a little concerned because it was a mix of animals. So maybe that would, but so if next week the story is Justin's um, out because he's puking or pooping his guts out, we know why. So there we go.
Well, let's hope not. But yeah, I think you're probably pretty safe. I mean, unless the ground meat got contaminated somehow, you're probably cool.
Yeah.
So we might as well say hello to Christina. She popped in. Hello, Christina. Christina the carnivore. So, anyways, yeah. So I guess I don't have to keep sharing that, but I'm still just building up my appetite after recovering from the modern pestilence, you know. But it is coming back. I know, like I'll have a day where I can slam 4 steaks in a row. So, or not in a row, but I'll eat like 4 big strip loins in a day, and other days it's a little tougher to get in, but I think I've noticed too that if I'm under feeding, I have a hard time getting to sleep. It's like
Huh.
it's like I was kind of wondering. It's like it's not. It's a weird thing where like I'm like really alert late at night, and I'm like, what is going on? And I started noticing that pattern that like, oh look, I didn't eat enough today, and maybe there's just something, some biological function that makes you more alert. And says, hey, go find some food. So
Yeah, if I could just take a second to comment on that. I've had a couple of clients that would do like OMAD in the morning and wouldn't be able to sleep at night and being super confused, right? Because they think, oh, they were in ketosis throughout the day after eating in the morning. So, like, their energy should be like out, like, they should be clonked out by night, right?
mm,
But what seemed to happen is that we're super efficient, right? And so if we give our body signals that we're going to be active, your body's going to look for energy. Your body does not have a choice to not create energy or to feed that mitochondria, whether it's with beta hydroxybutyrate or it's with glucose carbohydrates. Um, and so instead of, I think, us getting hungry at night and maybe issues with late night snacking, it's more late night ketosis, you know what I mean? And just kind of more of like a fat burn.
yeah, well, I mean, I think part of it is just the general sense of not being content. It's like, oh, didn't eat enough, and for me, mostly not getting enough food, and is about not prepping enough. I'm busy, spend a lot of time sitting in traffic, and I find myself rushing, and then it's late, and you're like, it's late. I don't know if I should eat this late, and I'm starting to think I probably just should because otherwise I'm not gonna sleep. And that's a big part of it. So, and I know like today I was scrambling. I was like, man, I was almost went to the store today to get some more food. But I was like, nah, I'm gonna stop tomorrow after work. I have enough steak, but I didn't have anything else. And I like to eat, I frequently eat like shrimp with my steak. I like that. So when I'm out of shrimp and I didn't, if I'm gonna have snack food, I'll have like turkey or something, and I'm completely out. So I don't have a lot of the side stuff that I. So it's like, and I didn't really have time to sit down and plow through a steak before we filmed because I was ran in here at the last minute so I could wait for you.
Yeah, that's kind of, well, the same problem you described is pretty much the same problem I had as well. Running out of the more snack stuff. Yeah, I actually meant to buy shrimp today and I completely forgot. Sam's Club was pretty crowded though. Don't go to Sam's Club on Sunday if you can avoid it. It's
Right.
just so crazy on Sundays.
That
It's
thought
like,
crossed my mind. I was thinking I might go there and pick up, but and I was like, Sunday's a rough day because it seems like everybody they don't open till like 9 or 10 or something like that, and that's when everybody starts getting out of church, and everybody goes shopping, and then they close early that day. So if you want to shop, you gotta get in there between I don't know 10 and 6 or whatever it is. So Sundays are usually madhouse. So
yeah,
like I'll just wait till tomorrow. But
right. What
you
about
know,
your egg whites? Do you still got cartons of egg whites or are you out of that
I
too?
do, I do. So I've
Okay.
been drinking the egg white. So um, it's kind of I mean I do that as much just to get the protein ratio up, especially on days when I'm lifting or recovering from lifting. So, and I do. That's an easy one because it's inexpensive, it's very convenient, and if you're drinking something, almost anything else, you can mix them together. I would randomly just mix it with soda water because I think that was you that said, "Hey, have you tried it with club soda or something?"
Yeah.
And then I had, for whatever reason, I had a bottle of tonic water sitting around. I think it was actually diet tonic water, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna get rid of this. I might as well try it with the egg whites, and it was actually really good. And then Joe suggested putting a little bit of vanilla extract in there, and I tried that, and that was good. And I've had it with coffee, and the trick with coffee, if you have a big cup of coffee and it's really hot, you want it to cool down a little bit because it'll cook the egg whites, and you
Right.
get a big clump. So, but
You make an egg drop coffee soup in that way.
yeah, there you go, egg drop coffee soup. That'll be the title of our next book. Egg drop coffee soup. The magic.
Oh, speaking of books, if you got a second, or you keep talking.
Yeah, so I probably should have grabbed some egg whites when I was coming in here. Could have been drinking them right now, and I forgot.
So there we go.
Is that from Dr. Salad Dinosaur?
Yeah, Salad Dinosaur's book. I really haven't had a chance to really dig into it yet, but it's not as carnivore as I wish it was. But I mean, everything looks gourmet. You know, you don't have to add every ingredient that he says in here, right? And I was looking at, I just turned a random page and I saw glycine, which made me laugh because I know he's always all about the glycine index and stuff like that. So there we go. More to come with that later on. I'll have to try some recipes. But you know, I think it's kind of cool just because I think for people that are getting into the carnivore diet, it's probably a good guide. As well as, you know, if you're having company over, you want to impress somebody, maybe make something a little more extra for people to introduce them to carnivore and things like that.
I think we should just write our own cookbook. Chapter 1 could be Emily Penton style cooking. Just cut your food up, your fat and your meat up into little cubes, put it in the freezer. Take it out and eat it when you're hungry. Right?
Right.
I think, you know, maybe we should do that. Write the cookbook talking about why you shouldn't mess up your food with a bunch of ingredients. A bunch of fancy cooking.
The true carnivore cookbook.
I mean, modern cooking is really about making your food taste like something else, right?
Right.
So maybe we should write the anti-cookbook.
The anti-cooking cookbook.
Yeah, we'll be the new counterculture.
There you go.
Put your steak in a pan if you want it cooked. Cook it in the pan. Take it out of the pan. Eat the steak. Pinch of salt if you like.
There you go. Be good. So Tom, what else have you been seeing in the carnivore world? Anything grind your gears?
You know, I'm that guy that like is always a little suspicious of all the supplements. I think people wind up on the supplements without really having a compelling reason. You know, they're not aware of any actual you know, low levels of this or that. They're just supplementing because I don't know, fear, marketing, whatever. Same thing. It's always the same thing. It's like you know, I'm kind of like, I think everybody needs to just start with setting goals. You know, it's like, what do you want to do? You just want to knock it out at the gym. You want to be the X3 bar champion, you know, and then you got to eat accordingly, right?
Yeah.
You got to get sleep. Sleep's a big thing. Probably don't talk about that enough because it seems like whenever I'm talking to people, it's like that's always an issue. And I know I've had an issue with sleep, and it's been getting better and better and better and better. But it's not like one of those things where you flip a switch and all of a sudden, oh yeah, I'm sleeping exactly the right amount every night. Oh, I have no problems going to sleep. And I think it was a revelation because one, I did notice, you know, a while back that on days when I actually got out in the sun, I had an easier time going to sleep, right?
It really helps. Yeah.
I've been working on that. But then recently I was like, And it wasn't like I was having an anxiety or something, which is what used to always keep me awake. And I'm like, why am I so awake? And then I drew that correlation between not eating enough and having a harder time go to sleep. So sun, sleep, exercise, of course. For me, the exercise is usually going to the gym, walking the dog, lifting weights, stuff like that. Um, I think sometimes people don't have enough patience in trusting the process. They expect, oh, I'm going to be, everything is going to resolve in a month. I'm going to be a new
Right.
person in a month. And they get
I have
frustrated.
300 pounds to lose, and it's day 5. I've only lost 9 pounds.
Right.
It's like, that's awesome. Where's the problem here? I mean, just keep at it. I don't know what to tell you at that point.
Well, we see examples, like Emily lost 100 pounds in a year, right?
Right.
But I was thinking about that. I mean, she's kind of the exception of the rule. I mean,
Yeah.
and the other thing was too, she was on so many medications. Medications go a long way to putting weight on people, especially psychiatric medications.
Correct.
So you take all that away and you clean up your diet, then you get those dramatic 100 pounds in a year or whatever without exercising to boot.
Right.
So, but so people are hoping and wanting that, but oftentimes they're sicker, they have these conditions longer, and they're not taking away a bunch of medications because maybe they weren't even on any, so there's nothing to remove. So,
Well, I mean, that's kind of my problem, is that I don't I've always been kind of lean, and you're not going to see, I mean, okay, if I got my body fat down to 5%, it would be like noticeable. I get that. But aside from that, you're not going to be able to really tell a big germ being carnivore from not carnivore, which is why, again, losing weight, body composition, yeah, but, energy, uh, being able to have a good immune system. So I don't think I talked about this yet, but a couple of weeks ago, so there was snow. Well, there was rain, and then we had snow, right? And so there was ice, and I was walking out to the gym on the property, and I slipped on some ice, some asphalt that I didn't see, and ate it like straight just on my ass. And fall in the middle of falling, I was like, "Uh-oh, am I going to get up?" Because I had just completely slipped, like a cartoon character slipping on a banana peel.
sorry I missed it.
um, and it really didn't hurt. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I think I twisted my ankle or tweaked my ankle a bit, so my ankle bothered me for the next week and a half or so. But like, my neck didn't really hurt. I fell on my right shoulder, so this shoulder's already messed up because of a car accident, and so I thought the shoulder was going to be completely tweaked or whatever. But the next morning, I was up doing X3. I went and did some ab work that day at the gym. I still went for a walk. I mean, it hurt a little bit, and maybe there was a bruise on my butt, but it
Well,
was
run
really,
run through real quick all the injuries you got in the car accident, and then getting hit by the car. Just rattle them off and tell them how they resolved.
yeah. So I had a car accident back in April of 2019, where I um, got rear-ended by a big SUV, and because of that, all kinds of pain, obviously whiplash, but my whole spine completely tweaked and all that, and then vertebrae messed up, C6, C7, stuff like that, which bothers me from time to time. And then, as a pedestrian, within 6 months of that happening, as a pedestrian, walking across the street and being hit by a car, flying up in the air, hitting the hood, being bounced off back into the street. everything felt like it hurt. I was walking with a cane the first week. I couldn't do anything pretty much. I was bedridden
You were
there for a
walking with
while.
a cane,
Legit walking with a cane for the first week. It was
like
that much pain.
Charlie Chaplin or something.
I didn't have as much. I had more of a hitch in my getty up than Charlie Chaplin at that time. Um, yeah, so ADS, the make model car was a 2010 Toyota Corolla that I had just bought from a friend like 5 months before the accident. He had that car for 4 years. Not a damn thing happened to it. He sells it to me, and within 6 months, completely wrecked. That's my luck. That's my life. Um, so yeah, that's that story. And yeah, so my body's been completely tore up from the floor up, from being hit by the car as a pedestrian. The worst injury, at least, was that my right shoulder, which I have the MRIs of, was bruised. The bone was bruised from end to end, all the way through my right shoulder.
So now you slipped on the ice, fell on your butt, and you're fine. It didn't aggravate your old injuries. It didn't create any new ones.
Like I said, my right ankle kind of tweaked for like a week and a half or so.
Uh-huh.
And like occasionally I'll get like a little twinge. But other than that, I mean, comparatively to how I fell, no, really nothing,
I'll just tap into ADS's comment about Dr. Atkins slipping on the ice and dying, and it's true. And it's funny because I still see vegans posting like, "Oh, Dr. Atkins gave himself a heart attack from eating meat," and it's like, well, the guy slipped on the ice, hit his head, had a traumatic brain injury, lingered in the hospital for a long time. I don't know how long, a month or something like that. And then he finally expired because his heart stopped. And everybody goes, see, he's got heart disease. So, yeah. So,
yeah,
anyways.
Carnivores die by accident, not by like heart disease, it seems. I think because what is it? The bear was like a car crash at age like 72.
Yeah, Bear Owsley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're alive long enough. There's an accident waiting to happen somewhere.
Right. Yeah. So, I always ask vegans, like, where are the vegan centenarians? And they're not around. Vegans do not make it to 100.
All right. Well, I don't know any carnivore centenarians, so they're probably out there, but I don't know them. So.
Well, wait. Hold on a second. So, Inuit, I think there's people up there that live to 100. Or there's been
I don't
people.
know, dude. They smoke and drink a lot these days. That's all I hear about is like, oh yeah, tobacco and beer. So
okay, fine.
They still are remarkably healthy considering the tobacco and alcohol consumption. But
okay, we also have to define carnivore. So, which I guess the legal definition or scientific definition is, I think 70% or more of your calories from animal products or from meat. And there's like centenarians that are like, oh, every day I had like steak and eggs. Like the thing they talk about, there's always meat in what they talk about that they eat.
Well, hopefully in 50 years from now, we'll still be doing these silly videos and like, yeah, I remember back in the day, everybody had their doubts. But I still eat my steak every day, and I'm 100 years old now.
Well, which one of us will be 100? Because you're going to get there a bit quicker than me.
Well, that's why I said 50 years from now, I'll be 101. So,
okay. And then
I don't know if YouTube will still be here. Maybe we'll just be like sitting in pods with what's the neural net implants, and I don't know, but hopefully we'll still be making videos and still eating steak. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Christina, but like, are you getting like 8 miles to the gallon in gas? Strolling.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I agree that they're talking about bigger vehicles being safer, and that's true. I'm a big believer in that. But I sit in a lot of heavy traffic, so I drive an electric car. So I don't have my I'm not driving my '77 Super Scout to work every day because that would be an enormous amount of gasoline I don't want to pay for. So, so
Okay, this is what's going to
too cheap.
happen. So when they develop the technology to start growing these mammoths, we'll have one ride in mammoth that you'll ride to work, stomp on the traffic. There you go. And then um, you'll have a mammoth that you eat, or the mammoth meat. It'll be a perfect world. Speaking of mammoths, I was listening to a podcast with Sean, and I've been meaning to ask you this all week. So they said on a mammoth there was possibly like 10,000 pounds of meat on a mammoth. That sounds like a lot of meat. I don't know. That's what he said. I don't know if he misspoke, but do you know how many pounds of meat maybe have been on a full grown, I'm guessing adult male mammoth, maybe?
I don't know. I guess that could be possible because some of the skeletons I've seen could easily be 10 times the size of a cow. And cows can be over 1,000 pounds, so it's entirely possible. They're very, very big. I mean, just go look at a really big elephant, and go. Some of the woolly mammoths and the mastodons are even bigger than that. So
So yeah, so his argument was that is that like, well, why would we be eating the organs then? Because there's plenty of muscle meat to go around by the pounds, by the thousand
right.
of pounds.
Well, and supposedly this really big really big mammoths, they had like a 4-inch layer of fat on the outside. Can you imagine just eating your way through that to get to the meat?
You'd be full.
Google her up, see how much a full grown mammoth weighed.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Because they were saying, so I actually listened to a great podcast with Judy Cho and Sean Baker. And they were going over all the current trend, the fruit trend, the organ trend that just doesn't seem to be able to die. And Judy getting really deep into the vitamin A toxicity with finding people that are just having ounces and ounces of liver every day because they think it's good for you, and then end up making themselves really sick. And then she's able to pinpoint it to the vitamin A toxicity and a couple other things. And there is the issue of the bigger the animal, the bigger the liver, the more of good stuff, but also bad stuff that you would get, or over toxicity of vitamin A or something like that. And it's like that story of those guys. I think it was Alaska, but I could be wrong. That ate that, like they were like stranded or something, and they ate the polar bear liver and died from, I guess, vitamin A toxicity or
Well,
something.
I've heard so many different versions of that, and I've
Yeah.
never seen any real documentation. So it could be folklore. I mean, how many polar bears are you going to kill? That's a big animal. That's like the most dangerous bear of them all, too. Like they have non-retractable claws. They're known to be temperamental. You know, I don't know, and that's the thing. I mean, how much sense does it make to eat liver all the time? Because there's only so much liver in an animal, right?
Well,
You
yeah.
get a 1,000-pound steer and you dress it out, 600 pounds of meat, and there's I don't know what's a big liver is like 5 pounds or something.
If
It's just
that,
a
yeah.
yeah, it's a small amount compared to the rest of the animal. So yeah, I think people are so their minds are so set towards supplementing vitamins, nutrients, and it's like, well, why don't you take some steps to see if you're missing any nutrients? So, anyways,
And in the beginning of the diet, you probably are nutrient deficient. You
yeah,
know, you probably are, but I think that resolves across time.
and there's tests. I mean, and we've heard that like if you've been thiamine or B1 deficient for a long period of time, just taking some supplemental B1 may not get the processes going in. You got to kind of, some people need to have a large dose for a while, and then those processes kick back in. But that's kind of the rare case, right? Most of the things you just need a small amount of it all the time, and you're good. You go back to normal. Your body has a bunch of systems that are tightly regulated, and it will do almost anything it can to put those things back into normal ranges.
Right. If anything, you're just giving your body more work to excrete whatever extra you're putting in, you know.
ADS is saying that some Arctic explorers ate their sled dog livers and got vitamin A poisoning. So, and I think vitamin A is one of those things that's not water soluble; it's fat soluble, so it's hard to flush out.
Right.
And I've heard people overdosing on vitamin A supplements. I guess it's not that uncommon because for people to overdo it, they don't realize that it's a possibility. So anyways, back on the car subject, Christina says her F-250 gets 15 or 16 miles a gallon. Yeah, I think my Scout gets like 11 or 12 or something like that. And then ADS is talking about the Nissan Leaf and the Chevy Volt have extremely good real world safety records. Well, that's good to hear because I drive a Leaf. So I put like 60,000 miles on that thing already. So anyways, didn't get any vitamin A poisoning from an electric car, fortunately.
There you go. What about lithium poisoning from the electric car?
Yeah, well, your biggest fear is something punctures one of those battery cells, and then you've got a big pile of
Johnny Five.
lithium, aluminum, and iron on fire. So I don't know if you've ever seen those videos of the battery shorting out in those Karmas. Did you see that? The Karma sitting on the pier.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, well, so when the batteries get shorted out, all that electricity just starts flowing, and it just melts everything and turns to a giant raging fire. When you set metals on fire, they burn really, really bright. So, yeah, we hope that doesn't happen. It's got to be safer than driving around with a bunch of gasoline, right?
Right. Well, we need to go back to the hydrogen car. I still believe that the Heidenberg did have an idea there. Just don't light a cigarette. That's all. It's fine.
Well, the problem is it's really hard to store the equivalent amount. It's always an issue of the energy density, right? Because things like gasoline are very energy dense. It's hard to make batteries of the same energy density. And oddly enough, even though hydrogen is a really small atom, it's hard to cram it in something and store it. And that's been the issue, is being able to carry enough hydrogen around with you. And it's very dangerous. So, once it mixes with oxygen, it's very volatile.
I actually almost bought a hydrogen car. Well, it was like a hydrogen gas or something like that car. And I think it was even a Toyota. And I didn't, but you had to go to like special hydrogen fueling stations. And there were like 6 by where I lived. And I was like, are there anywhere else? I was like, this just sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, there's a couple neighbors that bought them. So they did. They're like, yeah, I guess there's some really massive incentives to buy them. They're expensive though. I forgot how much the guy said he paid, but a lot. I just bought a Nissan Leaf used. It was a smoking deal. It was like a $40,000 car with what did I say, 16,000 miles on it when I bought it.
Yeah,
I bought it for like 8 or 9 grand, and it was like the premium model with the Bose audio and the leather seats. And I was like, all right, this will do it. I mean, it's adequate for commuting to work. Stop at the store, hit the gym, and that's it. It's a limited range car, and that's why they're so cheap, is because everybody's afraid to get a car with a limited range. But if you pencil it out and it works,
Definitely. Well, you've got the house set up to where you can charge there. You've been able to charge at work and stuff like that. So
yeah,
your biggest issue is just remembering to put it on the charger.
I've only forgot maybe like 3 times to plug it in. But then I have other cars to drive, so whatever.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh, I've got enough
Graduate.
stuff to charge. I'm not responsible enough to have to remember to charge my car. Plus, I
Well,
have charging anxiety, so that won't help me.
every time, yeah, you got that thing going on, and you got NICAD brain or something. Gotta run the
What's
battery
NICAD
down.
brain?
Well, those are the batteries. You had to run them down before you charge them again, or you shorten the life. You have not made it into the lithium
I've not.
battery world. So
Yeah, no, it's true.
I think the batteries in the Leaf are lithium manganese or something like that. So ADS mentioned that it's got like a 600-pound battery in the bottom, so it's not a light car. So, I'm pretty sure you can get all kinds of engine and transmission combos that weigh less than 600 pounds. I picked up some transmissions. I couldn't believe how light they were. Even on like the Jeep. I'm trying to remember which model it was, but just a regular like God, what am I trying to think of? Anyways, just a regular Jeep, and my buddy was swapping one out, and he had it in the back, and he's like, "Oh, can you hand that to me?" And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "Oh, hand it to you? It's a transmission." I picked it up. I was like, "Wow, I can't believe how light this thing is." I mean, it wasn't nothing, but it was under 100 pounds. It's
It
like,
is really
wow.
light.
So yeah, so I don't know what the trade off is as far as of course, the motors tend to weigh quite a bit more, but
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe a Leaf is pretty safe. I know it's got plenty of airbags in it and stuff. So, and I'm usually not driving very fast, and no, neither is anybody else around me. So yeah. But if I had my druthers, I'd just drive a big truck or SUV just for the safe. You never know what's going to happen. I drove a truck forever, but in fact, I was driving a Grand Cherokee right before I got the Leaf, I think. Well, no, I was driving. That's when I got the Mustang, and then I got the Leaf to go with the Mustang. So, anyways, enough about cars. It doesn't really matter what car you drive to the butcher shop, does it?
No, well, I guess on top of being a meathead, you're also a gearhead.
Hey, who doesn't like cars?
Right.
Everybody likes cars, trucks,
and tanks.
Yeah, why not?
Drive a
I think
tank.
there's a guy in Paris that drives a tank, isn't there?
Is there? That's awesome.
Yeah, or there was. I saw it on TV. I know it's got to be true. Of course, just a lot of people probably don't watch TV anymore. So,
okay, but how come track wheel isn't more popular? Like, could we integrate that into modern society?
It's not very efficient.
Oh,
Rolling wheels are way more efficient. Yeah. I mean, the treads are cool because you get lots of traction on any kind of terrain,
Right.
But they take a lot more energy to move. You can imagine how much one of those treads, a whole string of tread weighs on each side on a tank. It's got to be a lot. It's got to be. I'm sure the outside of them are probably mostly steel plate. So,
well, it doesn't have to be like round resistant. It just has to run.
Yeah, so they run like rubber treads on some of the earthmoving equipment, the smaller ones,
Right.
Like Bobcat size stuff, but still it's just not as efficient as a rolling wheel. That's all. You could do it. You just suck a lot of diesel or something.
be pretty interesting. But hey, you won't get stuck in the snow. So there you go.
Well, they have those you can put treads on trucks. Haven't you ever seen those?
Oh yeah, well the back, yeah, I've seen it on the back.
Yeah, they do them back. They can do them back and front. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
it's like having a snowmobile in each corner.
but what about the car you can put underwater that turns into a boat? Now that's cool. That's some James Bond level stuff right there.
That would be cool, but I mean, let's face it, it's all about flying cars. How would one of these days will finally, I mean, there's all kinds of flying cars that work. I don't know if they're safe enough to sell to the public, but I mean, go online, there's no end to the people building flying cars now. I mean, ever since the drone technology really took off, everybody's using, building these vehicles with multiple propellers, all the way from, relatively small ones to relatively large ones. The motors are better, the prop technology better, the energy density in the batteries is better, all that stuff.
And yet, no working jetpack, or at least not one that's like viable.
Those are getting better too, but most of them you can't stay in the air very long
Right.
because you got to whatever whatever you're gonna fly with, you got to strap to your back, man. It takes a lot of energy to fly around in the air. So,
Right.
but I think we'll have electric airplanes before long. I mean, I think we're pretty close to having this type of energy density and batteries that you need to fly. So, and I think that'll probably be much safer. If anything, once you driven an electric car for a while and you realize just how much simpler it is than a combustion engine, and of course the trucks are coming out now. You can get it. I think the Ford F-150 and the Chevy Silverado are both coming out in electric.
Right.
So
What is it? The DeLorean's coming back fully electric. That's exciting. I think that's exciting.
I wonder if they're going to do it, because that was the only car I ever saw that was stainless steel.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of cool idea, right? You don't have to paint it, doesn't rust.
Right.
But I wonder if they'll do it in stainless, or maybe they'll do it in aluminum or something,
That'll be interesting. I don't think it's probably under development. Maybe that'll be a premium option for the stainless steel. There'll be like pricing options. I hope it has a flux capacitor in it though.
Yeah, Mr. Fusion.
And I hope it goes faster than 88 miles per hour.
I'm sure the original one could. Yeah, that was one of those, because that car was supposed to have a rotary engine in it. So GM was trying to develop this rotary engine like a Mazda RX. And it was supposed to be like a tri-rotor. They're on three Wankel engine in it, and they never made that work. So then they wound up putting a Peugeot or something engine in it. I don't know. It's like the only thing that fit the engineering was some little Peugeot. So yeah, that car never really was or wasn't. And there's all that crazy stuff about John DeLorean, a bunch of those cars disappearing and cocaine trafficking. I don't know. I was a kid when all that was going on, and you're like, what? Guy working at GM is a big coke dealer? What? How did you make 100 or 200 cars or whatever disappear? They got to be somewhere. How do you hide 100 fucking cars?
Jay Leno has them, probably.
Oh, probably. They're probably in Jay Leno's basement, huh?
Right. Doesn't he have like 15 garages or something for all his cars? He was like,
yeah, I guess he's got a bunch of warehouse after warehouse after warehouse. And I guess there's like all kinds of crews of people in there restoring stuff. So
that's when you know you've made it, Tom. There you go.
Here's a Carnival related engine story. So I know a guy, he's an older guy, machinist, and he belonged to some club that restored old engines that they used in factories to run the equipment. And a lot of the parts on those things had to be lubricated by hand because there was no lubricating system. There's no way to inject oil or whatever. So, that technology hadn't come along yet. So those guys would literally, when the machine started squeaking and shaking, they literally go out and slaughter a hog and just get that hog fat and just rub down the pistons and the rods and the pivots and all that stuff. So, and then later on they fitted them with you'll see these little things that almost look like a lamp, but they'll be a lot of times they're brass and they have a glass inside, a glass tube, and they put oil in it and it just slowly trickles oil onto the parts. That kind of replaced that. So
anyway, what car was that, or what was that?
These were like large motors that would be in factories to run the machinery. Like now everything has like an electric motor inside of it, let's say. But imagine like you've got this big motor with a belt driving everything in the factory or whatever, there was. So anyways, yeah, so they used to use hog fat to lubricate machinery.
Are you telling me that I could have a carnivorous sex robot? That's what I got from that story.
Yeah, that's not quite what I was saying, but carnivorous sex robot? What?
That sounds like a good band name.
I'm still
or something.
confused.
Yeah, that's right. So speaking of cars, I might as well plug to our audience. I have a buddy that's selling a 1954 ivory white with red genuine leather interior 1954 Bel Air. So there you go.
Does it have a trunk full of honey?
If you pay for the trunk full of honey.
Does it come with a free hamburger?
Maybe not. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
All I know is 1954 Bel Air. It's a beautiful car. Never drove it. He never drove it. They bought it. It was a graduation gift for his girlfriend at the time. And since they live in the desert, they were like, oh, we can't really take this out because it's just going to get dust like everywhere. It was literally just sat in the garage forever.
Sad story.
Sad story. Yeah. Sad story.
So, anyways, what are you doing? Any meal prep for the coming week? Today being Sunday.
I made chicken wings. I've got food. I made like a couple days ago. So I've got like some strip steak. And I've got, I got meatballs. I put some new seasoning and I don't like it. And my stomach doesn't like it. I'm getting like bloating and gas. Not fun. Not great. So I'm probably not going to do that seasoning again. I should probably start easing my way back into more pure, I think, probably the coming months or at least for a little while, saying goodbye to cheese, at least for a little while. And
how much cheese were you eating?
I'm probably not eating that much cheese. I mean, maybe a quarter pound, probably less than a quarter pound a day.
So about 4 ounces a day, huh?
Probably. Yeah, just to be fair.
What kind of cheese?
Mostly cheddar.
Do you think that might be a problem, or?
Well, I just, continuing the experiment, it might be putting a little more fat and calories on me than I want. That's all. It's good. I like the cheese. I mean, people have to understand though, that again, I went 6 years without dairy and that was difficult because I was told it was bad for me.
Mm-hmm.
So ever since carnivore where I could eat cheese, I've been like cheese. Not as bad as some people. A mutual that we have that was talking about eating 8 ounces of cheese a day or like in a sitting. And I was like, and I wanted to turn this into something, but like, how do we tell our carnivore friends that they're doing it wrong? Because like he's trying to lose weight, and I'm like, you ain't losing weight eating 8 ounces of cheese a day.
Yeah, well, it seemed like he's starting out his day just eating cheese. He's snacking on cheese, and I suspect it's a bit more than 8 ounces a day. And he was drinking a lot of milk and half with that, and it's like, well, milk in general is obesogenic, so dairy tends to lean that way. I mean, particularly milk because you got sugar and fat packaged together, right?
Right.
So yeah, if you're not meeting your goals, it's definitely something to look at. I mean, if you're healthy and you're feeling good and you're eating, I don't know, some people could probably eat 8 ounces of cheese a day, but it's a complicated topic because not all cheese is the same,
Right.
And if you got somebody who's eating, that only needs 1,500 calories worth of energy a day or whatever, 8 ounces of cheese is a big chunk of that. So, whereas if you got somebody who's eating 5,000 calories a day, so it's a much smaller portion of the diet,
Yeah, definitely. There is a portion there, or there's a ratio there for sure. Um, but I just feel like it's good to go as clean as possible from time to time. Cutting out the seasonings, cutting out the dairy,
Yeah, cut it
going
out and
back.
see what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
um, getting used to just meat again. I just think it's good practice, or it's just good thing to do. It's uh, just
I've been trying to
personal.
figure out how to get cheese powder to stick to jerky.
Oh, right.
I'm trying to perfect my Dorito style jerky.
Beef burritos.
Yeah, that's good. The interesting thing was I mixed cheddar cheese powder with Parmesan
Uh-huh.
powder, and it clumped really bad.
Probably too much moisture in the cheddar, I would guess.
I think it was the Parmesan actually, because
Uh,
the cheddar that I have is like super dry. Like don't leave the door open because if there's a breeze, it's gonna blow away, kind of dry. So
it is really
I
dry.
don't know. I mean, because they were fine by themselves, and I put them together, and then they clumped up really bad. But first world problems. So
You can't just like spread, or maybe you need to like invent like a powder cheese gun, like a paint gun, but for your jerky.
that's an excellent idea. I'll get right on that. No, I
Just need
mean
a
what
compressor.
for the most part, once it makes contact with the moist meat and you get it in the dehydrator, then it kind of soaks in. Just like the salt, you salt it and it's like the salt disappears. A lot of the
Right.
cheese disappears too. The thing is like that Dorito flavor is, I think technically it's red bell pepper powder or something weird like that, and then shit, salt and garlic. Is that right?
Sounds
Onion.
right.
It's powdered. It's powdered onion and powdered garlic, which is something else. I'd never really thought much. There's granules, powders. Oh no, that's it. It's granulated garlic and granulated onion, not powdered. And it's like I'd never even thought about those differences before in my life. And I was like reading all this recipes that people figured out, and I'm like, and then chili powder. There's chili powder in it too. The red bell pepper powder, I don't even know where you get that. So I substituted tomato powder, which I actually found, which actually is pretty good, you
Hmm.
know. So and it's pretty close. I mean, what would be better than Dorito flavored jerky?
Right.
Yeah,
Funyun flavored jerky. Just kidding.
funny, and I can't believe they still manufacture those things. Every time I see a bag, I'm like, why?
You didn't like Funyuns?
It's okay, but I wouldn't. I'd never go to the store and buy a bag. It's like,
I went through a Funyun phase where like I was just eating bags of Funyuns
were
as a
you just trying to
teenager.
have fun,
I guess so,
or do
maybe.
you really like onions?
No, they don't taste like onions. I hated onions at the time, but I liked Funyuns. They probably have like high fructose or something in them, so it just tasted sweet or something. And
Oh,
then
sweet.
throwing what are they, the Cheetos in my like bologna and cheese sandwiches? Throw Cheetos in it, crunch it, and eat it.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah,
was a bit of a weird kid.
I've seen people do that. They put chips or Cheetos or whatever on their sandwiches. Sure,
Right.
why
Yeah.
not make it crunchy?
Don't judge me.
I get crunchy. Crunchy's good.
Yeah, just having that crunchy. I tried to do it once to a peanut butter and jelly. Was not good. Do not
Really?
try that. Yeah, not great.
What was it? Cheetos?
Yeah,
Cheetos
Cheetos, peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
sounds all right, I guess.
I
Remember,
also did with a tuna sandwich, and that actually wasn't that bad.
well, when you were a kid, on average,
How many paint chips did I eat?
yeah. Well, actually, I was gonna be more polite than that, but that's what I was thinking. Um, how many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches would you say you ate the average week?
Well, here's the thing. I really didn't eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches as a kid. That was really more of like a young adult take a rip off the
Okay, as a young adult, how many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches did you eat in a week, roughly?
oh Jesus. So 2, 4, 6, 8, like 10, probably, maybe something like
Yeah.
that. Because I always had to make two. One just never felt like enough. So I always made two. And it had to be grape jelly. I only liked grape jelly. And the peanut butter had to be smooth peanut butter, which you recently upset me because you said the smooth peanut butter has soy oil in it or something,
Well, I
or
think they
palm
both do.
oil. But it has like more of it, and that's what makes it smooth. And that upset me. So thanks for that.
No, I think it was you were saying something about like a smooth peanut butter. And I was telling you my girlfriend likes it extra crunchy, but I think they all have almost all of them have soybean oil, unless you get the all natural. Just you can get peanut butter with that's just got peanut oil, but I think most of the like real common stuff it's all because I remember reading the label going, soybean oil. What the hell? It's like you take one of the oiliest things you can pull out of the ground and you got to put more oil in it. It's like peanuts aren't oily enough. You got to add soy. But maybe the peanut oil is more valuable. So they sell the peanut oil and replace it with soybean oil. I don't know.
Well, have you ever actually? So there's a company called Justin's that makes almond butter, and it is thick. Like, even though it has like maple in it and cinnamon, like it is a thick.
Wow, fancy.
Right? Yeah, that's why it's like $13 a jar.
Woo!
And when I say jar, I mean literally like that, like a jar. I used to eat it all the time. So for a while, I was doing Justin's almond butter and jelly sandwiches for a while
Yeah.
too. And yeah, it's thick. And the same with like natural peanut butter that's just peanut. It's like thick. So I can understand why they add the soy oil to make it more.
Well, did you ever eat the peanut butter that or any of those nut butters that had no sugar?
I don't think so. At least if I did, I don't remember.
Yeah, so they're okay, but you can tell that stuff's way better with sugar. Of course, you're slapping some grape jelly on it.
Wait, are you telling me now there's added sugar in that peanut butter that I was having and soy oil?
Absolutely.
I thought that just naturally tasted that way. No,
not unless you get the no sugar added stuff. Yeah, no, I remember I liked peanut butter when I was a kid too, and sunflower seed butter. That's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, I loved sunflower butter as well. That stuff's really good.
Almond butter's good. I liked all that stuff too. But I could totally tell like when you give that stuff up and you stop that that stuff messes with your digestion at the very least, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then particularly with peanuts, we got the concern about lectins. That scary study they did where they tagged the lectins with fluorescent molecules of some kind and then watched them creep right up the vagus nerve to the brain. It's like, how could a freaking protein do something like that?
Yeah, it's frightening.
Yeah. So
yeah,
glad
do not eat. I was listening to the Bart and Dr. Chafee interview, which is really good. Never really watched Dr. Chafee before, but he's been carnivore for a good chunk of time. And I guess he learned even in medical school that like most plants are carcinogenous, are carcinogenic. And people think they're carcinogenic. Oh, that's just the chemicals that are sprayed on it. But it's actually no. The chemicals in the plants themselves are actually more carcinogenic than the chemicals that they spray on the plants. Which is like,
well, that's kind of a parallel to the conversation about pesticides, right? Because like 90% of our pesticide exposure actually comes from the natural pesticides that the plants make themselves that we eat. We get a higher dose of pesticide from the plants than we do from the pesticides that are applied by humans, which is crazy.
Right.
That nobody has that conversation until carnivore comes along. At least I didn't hear anybody talking about it.
Uh-uh.
Wild.
Yeah,
So,
crazy. Plants are just toxic. There's no way around it. I'm sorry, people. And hey, it's tough for me too. Like I used to like spinach. I used to like eating nuts. I used to like some fruits and things like that. But it's just toxic. There's no way around it. I'm sorry. It's not, they're not health foods. You can't do the fruit. Well, you can, but like the fructose, the all the different chemicals and stuff, and it's weird. I'm running into people just kind of randomly that are reacting to more plants. So like I had a friend that I knew recently that she got kidney stones, and she's young, she's like 28 or something. um and uh it turned out to be oxalate, and she got kidney stones, and she was like, I'm so healthy, I eat, like, I have green tea and spinach like every day. And I was like, that's exactly your problem. And so the doctor told her to stay away from greens. Like she can't
yeah.
eat greens anymore. Um, and then I have another friend,
Well, how
uh,
old is she? You said she's young, but what are we talking? 20s, 30s, 40s,
20s, like late 20s.
late 20s? Wow.
Yeah, and getting kidney stones.
Yeah.
Yeah, from that, from just daily ritual of green tea and spinach.
Well, a long
Uh,
time ago, my dad, I forget, he was working in a certain particular area, and they had green tea there at the food thing, and he got in the habit of drinking it, and it caused him problems too, just from drinking, I don't know, like 2 cups of green tea a day.
Yeah, I used to drink a cup of green tea every day. And then I have someone else I've been talking to recently, and she gets sores in her mouth from broccoli.
Hmm.
For some reason, just now she's noticed with broccoli, but like, yeah, she breaks out. And she's like, it used to be fine, that just all of a sudden, now when I have broccoli, my mouth breaks out. And I was like, that's great. Like she gets like canker sores or something on the insides of her mouth. And I was like, that's kind of crazy. I don't know if that's oxalate related or what it could be, but that's something
So
interesting.
fluorophane.
Possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know I used to get reactions like that from tomato and melons. So like, especially like cantaloupes and honeydews. For some reason, they'd give me sores in my mouth too, and walnuts. And that's like a heredity, something that I inherited from. There's been other members of the family that had that same problem. So whatever.
Well, and that's the thing about these toxins, is that they bring they the toxins build up in your body, and some of us more than others, you know. And
Sure.
so
Well, the whole oxalate thing, when it's quite apparent, though I couldn't say I could quote a study that some people's ability to eliminate oxalates from their food is their capacity to do that is higher than others, or so it seems. And then that's one of the things about in the autistic community, you see that autistic people tend to have higher levels of oxalates, and it's also been noted things like mercury or whatever. So we don't know why, and a lot of people go, oh well, that's what's causing the autism, but it's probably something more along the line of they're just not able to eliminate things like oxalates as readily as other people for some reason. It's probably connected to the autism. So
yeah, gut health, brain health, right? And so issues with the gut, issues with the brain.
yeah, no, well, it may have something to do with the liver or liver function, like because you can't eliminate oxalates all the time. Like that process goes on when another process isn't going on, and so on and so forth. So the body stores the oxalates in the body till it has the opportunity to eliminate them. And if you don't have enough opportunities and you're eating too much or whatever, so they build up in the joints and the kidneys. And there's some pretty horrific pictures. And I think it was the what's his name, the dentist, the the the, the the guy that went around looking for the vegan society.
Right. Yeah.
books right up here somewhere. Anyways, if you look on the cruise the internet looking for pictures of oxalate crystals, and there's some pretty scary ones. You see them in people's brains and hearts and stuff. Obviously, that's pretty extreme cases, but yeah, oxalates are something to be avoided.
I agree, definitely. Well, yeah, just plants in general. Try to keep them low. You know, the best you can, to the best of your ability.
Yeah, I saw my friend D was complaining about kidney stones or something on Facebook. I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Hey, 80% of those kidney stones are caused by oxalates. You know, just stay away from the high oxalate foods." She's like, "I'm a glutton for punishment."
Well, and you know, a lot of people are supplementing with vitamin C right now, and vitamin C just breaks down into oxalate.
Yeah. So yeah, you might want to think twice about mega dosing vitamin C. So
Right.
again, do you really need it? Again, it's that thing that goes back. I kind of, you know, when I was a kid, there was a lot of talk of, oh, you got to take your vitamin C. I remember giant bottles of vitamin C tablets, you know, and stuff like that. And of course, it's in.
Did you take your Flintstones vitamins?
My parents wouldn't pay for Flintstone vitamins. I got the generic stuff, man. What are you talking about?
Kind of weird story. I know I just interrupted your story, but for
You
some
stepped on my
reason,
joke I was about to make.
oh, fine. There you
Damn. No, go ahead.
So my grandma bought me vitamins one time. I think she thought something, it was a long time ago. And I started taking them, and within like 3 days, I got horrifically sick. I don't know what it was in it, but like I don't remember what kind of sick, but I just got horribly sick. Like stomach, throat, everything was wrong. And I didn't take vitamins as a kid after that, really. I started taking more vitamins as an adult because I'm dumb, but it was never like a multivitamin.
You have a problem. You have a supplement. You're a supplemental addict.
I am a supplement addict. I'm recovering. I can't help myself.
Can't help yourself. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't know. It's really dating myself, but I remember giant bottles of whatever the store brand was at Fedco of vitamin C or multivitamins when I was a kid. So,
There was a store called Fedco. That's a popular name, I'm sure.
You don't remember Fedco?
Not at all.
Come on.
What the hell is Fedco?
It's like the first membership store there ever was. It was before Price Club, which became Costco. So I think it was bought out by Target.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like you had to have a membership to go there, you know.
And here I thought that started with just Costco and Sam's Club, the whole membership store.
Price Club.
Been around for
Excuse me, sir, Price Club. So you can go in and get a case of 5-inch floppy disks and tractor feed printer paper. Come on, man. That's where I made the mistake of buying books. Just line after line of machine code trying to create a free video game from a $5 book. Miles and miles of just numbers and commas, just endless pages. There's no way I was ever going to get that right. Never, ever. Just punished myself sitting there trying to plug in all these on my Commodore 64 with a cassette backup. They kept burning out power supplies. Damn it. Those were the days.
Oh man. We're so off track now, but it's fine.
Hey, we're talking about vitamins.
Yeah, vitamins. There you go. Yeah, store vitamins. Well, and then I learned that like, you know, most of the vitamins are encased in like rock, like granite. Basically, it's just totally indigestible.
Yeah, I'll retell that story. So forget exactly how the conversation came up, but it was a conversation with one of the guys that sets up porta potties and pumps them out. He's like, "Oh yeah, every time I go to one of these marathons, he's like, those things are just full of pellets from undigested vitamins." He's like, you can hear just like it's like gravel going through the vacuum hose when he pumps them out. It's like, so that's another thing. A lot of everybody goes, "Oh, I got the real expensive, uh, got a Russian troll trying to plant some poison links in our chat."
Oh, fun. There you go.
So,
It's the
anyways,
Russians.
yeah, a lot of vitamins just don't get absorbed, even if the tablets or capsules do dissolve. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of it's just wasted money. People go, "Oh yeah, this is the best quality," blah 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 blah. It's like, is it? Why don't you go get tests? Go get tests, see if you need any whatever it is they're selling you, and then if you need it, take it, and then get another test to make sure it's actually working, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people don't follow up. And I remember me, and probably still me, is that once you start taking something, it's hard to like let go of it because you're like, well, I feel good. And do I really want to risk maybe feeling bad?
So
So you
you
just get like in the habit and like like it's a psychological addiction. I know it's an emotional psychological thing with me.
uh,
Supplements.
all right.
Like it's in my head that
uh,
like it's like sinning. Like you have to penance
it's like
and
sinning.
take your vitamins so you're forgiven. Yes.
So taking vitamins is has some sort of redemptive quality.
Yes, you do. It's like the sacrament, except in pill
Yes.
form.
It's a sacrament in pill form.
It is.
Well, folks, heard it here first. Vitamins are the sacrament in pill form.
They are. So I was talking to
Uh,
my mom recently,
yeah.
and so my mom's Mormon, and so they take the sacrament like super seriously.
After all these years, this is the first time you mentioned your mom was Mormon.
It never came up. When do we ever talk about Mormons? You're not Mormon.
No, but your mom's come up a bunch of times.
Yeah, but usually her doing something terrible, which a Mormon should not do. And speaking of doing
Now,
something,
I'm sure your mom is a sweet lady.
no comment. But anyway, um, so I was talking to her, and so my mom's
I'm gonna
carnivore.
go over to her
Actually,
house and introduce myself, young man.
I do have something good to say about my mom.
Make up
So
my own mind.
my mom is coming up on 2 years carnivore. Uh,
Yay for mom!
Fairly strict. She's loving it still. Her blood sugar is fantastic every day.
Yeah.
Um, when I left, when I saw her, she had already lost like 20, 25 pounds
Uh,
from being carnivore. And
yeah.
apparently, last time I talked to my mom, she said she lost another 10 pounds on
Nice.
carnivore, which is crazy because she hasn't stopped taking her medication.
I'm guessing your mom's not a very big person either.
No, she's not. She's 5'2". Yeah, my mom's tiny.
Well,
And
my mom was 5 foot.
oh,
Yeah.
how did she pass you through?
No, I don't know, but she's still angry about it.
So she's lost another 10 pounds, and even though she's still taking certain medication, anyway, that's up to her. I'm happy she's carnivore, but yeah, she her blood sugar numbers are stellar like every day, and she's really happy about it, losing the weight. And my mom has done nothing but gain, like the 10 years prior to going carnivore,
Yeah,
and
not that I want to out your mom, but just for the sake of the audience, how old's your mom?
my mom is gonna be 72 this year, I believe.
Wow. So there you go. She started when she's about 70.
Yes.
Mhm. That's good news, man.
Yeah,
We should get her on here to do a video.
I
The
know.
hell?
It'd be
Come
really
on,
great.
man.
Talk about eating
Get
meat.
get your mom on a video. You never know when moms don't live forever. You gotta do have a great memory of you and mom and your carnivore story.
There you go. And she feeds the dogs just meat now as well.
Nice.
Not raw meat, but she just feeds them meat pretty much.
Speaking of that, I took my dog Trixie in to the vet. Well, I was making the appointment, like, oh, what do you feed your dog? The first time they've ever asked me that, right? And I'm like, well, she eats meat. And they're like, excuse me? I'm like, she eats meat. And they're like, so she eats raw meat all the time? I'm like, no, she mostly eats cooked, probably. And like, what? You feed her meat, but it's not raw? And then, I was hearing from vets, oh, don't feed your dogs raw meat because they get poisoned all the time. I'm like, I don't feed my dog roadkill, I'm not buying it off some guy on the street corner,
Right.
and whatever my dog eats, I eat, it's like, I don't know. I mean, and I know human stomachs are probably a little more robust than a dog's stomach because our pH is so much lower or more acidic, but, yeah, so, I thought that was interesting that they actually asked me what she ate, and then they automatically assumed if she ate meat, it was raw. It was interesting.
Right.
I guess that raw meat for dogs is more popular than I thought. I don't know.
Either that, just running into people with sick dogs that ate some raw meat, ate some raw bird or something. They shouldn't have. Probably not good for them.
Well, I mean, dogs eat raw birds all the time, but they're usually fresh, right?
Right. Yeah.
Cats eat raw birds all the time.
Raw lizard, raw bird, raw whatever they can catch. Yeah. Mouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I asked my vet about that one time because rat terriers they loved lizards, rodents, birds, whatever they can get their paws on. And that one vet, she's like, well, let's get the rabies shot, and the one other, she's like, nature pretty much takes care of the rest of that. So it's funny because I'm like, every time I see like a dead rat or a rat dying or whatever, you're like, yeah, I think there's fleas and mites jumping off that thing. I don't want to be anywhere near it.
Right.
But somehow in nature, they just eat them. Fleas and lice and
extra protein.
Whatever. Be damned, So I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of wonder when humans develop that yuck factor. I wonder if it's like a modern human thing or I don't know, when we were hunting. I mean, we started out as scavenging, right? And then that like lower, oh, that's for the lower class, or I don't know. Just interesting. I wonder there's a book on that or something. It would be developing the yuck factor.
Well, as you mentioned something, there's some pretty compelling evidence that we, our pre-human ancestors developed a taste for meat, as it were, by eating the remnants that left behind by other predators, right? So I don't know. Wolf kills what would be an interesting animal? An edu or something. Kills this animal, probably eats the liver and the guts out of it fast, and oftentimes the big predators will leave like leg meat and stuff behind, right? But there's also bone marrow in the bones and brains and the casings, and we've got a long history of using hammer stones to open stuff like that up and pick out the marrow and the brain and stuff like that. And that's probably what helped us develop a bigger brain to become, modern humans. So it seems go ahead.
We're pretty much the only animal that can eat like the entire animal or something. I mean, there's, like snakes. There's a few animals that eat an entire animal whole, but all the other animals, they just take what they want and usually just leave it because, they have no way to preserve it or anything. Maybe crocodile or like alligator, they eat like the entire of, which is mainly reptiles and us, basically.
Well, a crocodile or something like that will swallow small things whole. Yeah. But Crocodile doesn't swallow a water buffalo whole. I'm pretty sure they don't eat the heads. Especially with the horns on it. So
Right. Good point.
yeah, yeah, and I think like hyenas, they can pretty much eat an entire animal except some of the big bones. But even hyenas, I think, can crack open the skulls of most animals and they'll eat the brains. But they're an unusual animal in that respect. I think it's basically humans and hyenas that crack open skulls and eat brains. So if you guys, if you're, I'm not saying share this information, but if you feel the urge to eat a tasty brain, it's probably just in your genes. Just saying.
Unless it's human brain. That's you get prions.
Well, that's what mad cow disease is too, so you can get it there.
Right. Well,
I think sheep get it. I think prion disease shows up in sheep too, doesn't it?
yeah, I think there's some at mammals, or most mammals, I think you get prion disease
Mm,
from cannibalism.
scary stuff.
Yeah, not fun.
So
I'm happy the cattle industry survived that. There was like a good year where that went on.
mad cow disease.
Yeah, where it was like a big thing in the news.
Yeah, I don't remember how long that was. Seemed like it was longer than that, but I live close to one of the places that was selling downer cow meat. I used to drive past that place all the time. Like I had never been in there, didn't know anybody worked there or anything, but it was one of those places like where they're like, because once a cow's sick, you're not supposed to put it in the food chain. And they're
Yeah,
taking cows that are at the end of their life and shouldn't be, and they were so sick they couldn't stand up. They call those the downers, I guess. And yeah, they were taking sick cows and selling them for food. So that was part of the problem. So,
that would be a problem.
and then if you got apparently some of the leftover cow is ground up and added to certain types of cow food.
Right, and that's how it ended up spreading, if I remember right.
Because the prion is like really durable, right? You can't just
Yeah,
cook it like it's not like bacteria and fungus and viruses like that cook away. It's very persistent, so you got to keep it out of the food chain.
right, definitely.
There must have been some conspiracy theories about the origin of prions too, right? We gotta look back. Well, that was kind of like the beginning of. I don't know how big was the internet when the mad cow disease thing was going on. That was a
Wasn't
while.
that like early 90s, right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
So it was like
93, something like that, 94.
we were still logging on with Mosaic.
I remember Clinton was president, I think, right? Or was
That
he
could
elected
be.
in 95?
That could be. We'll have to look that up because that'd be interesting. I was probably just well, actually, my first email account I remember having, I think, was Prodigy. Do you even remember Prodigy?
I think I do actually. Yeah.
I
My
hope I
brother had a
don't ever
Prodigy.
have like one of those FBI interviews like, we need all the email addresses you've ever had. I'm like, what? How's that possible? So, yeah, mad cow disease. And back in the day when they used to send you floppy disks in the mail, and then eventually it was a CD so you could join America Online.
There you go. AOL. Remember that? We had AOL 3.0 was hot.
I still know people that have AOL accounts. So, yes, apparently AOL is, at least the email is still out there. All right. So we wrap this one up. We're coming up on an hour and a half.
Woohoo. There we go.
Hey, thanks everybody. Hope you enjoyed it.
Let us know in the comments if you want us to talk more about cars or other,
mad cow disease.
or if you kind of like the more bantery episodes of us just kind of free flowing here.
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know in the comments too what kind of supplements you take, why you take them. I mean, I was interested.
Do you have mad cow disease? Have you had it? Did you survive?
Yeah. Did you survive prions?
Do you have an AOL disc?
Do you have an AOL account still? Let us know if you remember the Mosaic browser. Netscape.
I remember
Netscape.
Netscape.
Netscape wasn't too long ago, was it?
I mean, no. I
Net,
mean, it was,
Netscape
but it wasn't.
Navigator.
Netscape Navigator. Yeah, I remember using that at school.
Hey, if you're old enough to remember Commodore 64, which came out right after the VIC 20, okay, if you guys can remember that, let us know in the comments. Hey, if you've discovered Carnivore while you were using your Commodore 64, let us know that too, because that would be very interesting. So, anyways, want to thank everybody. Like, subscribe, send the links out to other people to enjoy it. Maybe there's somebody out, out there, that's you've been discussing some of these topics with, and maybe they'd enjoy hearing other people talk about it. Anything to grow the channel. It makes a big difference if we can grow the channel. Makes a big difference. People
We got a bump recently, so we appreciate that. Thank you to all our new subscribers and, of course, past subscribers who've been here for a while. Thanks for hanging in here with us.
Yeah, we're going to be doing this every Saturday or Sunday at 5 PST, and we're rolling out the short ribs as well. The short ribs come out, and we also release some other long formats. So let us know. Maybe you want to know what you want to talk about. Oh, it says Christina, the carnivore, says no supplements, just meat, salt, and water for over 3 years now. Over 3 years now.
Wow.
Good for you. Yeah, you should come on and chat with us sometime.
Yeah.
Tell your carnivore story. So, anyways, if you're interested, let us know. So, thanks everybody. Whatever you do, eat some meat, feel better.
And whatever you do, don't fall down the carb hole
or the cheese hole.